Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. NBA Cup action on Tuesday. Nate and Josh here with you guys. Going to be looking at some best bets. Going to be looking at player props and both of these games here. So make sure to subscribe to that channel. Going to be bringing you all this action in one video each and every weekday moving forward here. Jumping right into the first game of the night here. We've got the Magic. We've got the Heat in Orlando. We know we don't have Franz Wagner now for at least 2, probably 4 weeks. Hopefully that's as bad as it is for him. But what do you do here with this under, Nate? Obviously, Franz is a guy that speeds things up, so it makes sense that this one would be a little bit slower pace.
Yeah, I know we were both looking that way here. And also, it's a cup game. It's basically a playoff game. So obviously, you got to lean towards some unders here. If you just look at this Orlando Magic team, the last 2 playoff series that they were in averaged 97 to 100. I'm not sure if a single one went over the total. Like they had to continually make totals below 200 when they're in that series with the Cavs a while ago. And it's relevant because it was the Paolo show, right? It was not Franz and Paolo, which we only have had really a glimpse of. I know Franz was in those series, but his offense was pretty broken at that point. And now you remove Franz, who's been the engine behind this Orlando offense, and you're going to be in trouble as far as getting points on the board. Desmond Bane has the Heat must have some sort of playbook on him because he has just been absolutely horrendous in the 2 matchups against them. And then you look on the other side. Look, as long as we got Suggs, like I think the Magic are going to be in this game. They've won 6 of their last 7 at home with Jalen Suggs. So I would actually look at a correlation of like up to +5.5 with the Orlando Magic. If you think this is going under, like I don't see the Heat just completely smothering them. But that's just a quick aside. The more important thing is Suggs can lock up Tyler Hero, who has a 94 offensive rating in his last 4 matchups with Jalen Suggs. Orlando, number 5 limiting points in transition in their last 7. They're also number 2 limiting second chance points and 4 limiting points off turnovers. So the whole Heat, turn defense into offense, score in transition type strategy. I think it's going to be a little calmer than that. It's going to be more of a half court game. And therefore, it's going to be lower score.
Yeah, Paolo slows things down. Franz speeds things up, and so now you see a completely different team. This is a Magic team that's been in the top 5 in pace without Paolo, and in the bottom 10 in pace with Paolo. It's just that simple. And honestly, the clunkiness here with Paolo just really, it just makes me like the Heat a lot. I think at the end of the day, like what's going to happen here is I don't think this is going to look pretty at all. I think Tyler Hero is going to be something that it's not going to be a huge issue, but it's going to put a little bit of a wrench into things because he can still be that black hole that we've seen. And then when you talk about on the other side of the ball without Franz, then yeah, I just don't like the what's going to happen to this Magic offense at the end of it. It's just going to look like it has in the last couple of years, man. It's just that simple. Like Desmond Bane is not going to be an improvement to this offense with Paolo without Franz, and we've seen this offense. I hate saying this. We've seen this offense look awesome without Paolo. Awesome with Bane and Franz and Suggs and Anthony Black and Tristan Da Silva and shooters and just ball movement. Like the ball has energy when he's not out there. There's ball movement, which leads to open catch and shoot, which leads to better transition offense as well. Desmond Bane, a guy that does like to get it and go when he gets rebounds. So does Suggs. So does Franz. It's just tough. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully it's like, maybe it's just Franz and Paolo can't play together. And then, the Paolo and Bane look good. I want that. I want this Magic team to be good. I just don't see it. And when it comes down to the end of the shot clock, even if there's some clunkiness with Tyler Hero and a little bit of a black hole that he can be at times, you're still going to have Norm. You're still going to have Bam. You're still going to have Andrew Wiggins. You're still going to have Davion distributing. You're still going to have a bench with scores like I don't care about Jovic, but more like Pell and Jaquez and company. So I'm still, there's just way more firepower here on the Heat side. And despite the fact that I think the Magic will slow things down a little bit for this Heat team that's playing at 105 pace on the season, things will slow down a bit. And I still think the half court offense is going to be enough for the Heat because that half court offense for the Magic is poo-poo.
Yeah, I mean, the big takeaway here is the Heat were +5.5 on Friday at Orlando. Now Orlando's missing their best player, probably because everything
I'm willing to say that. Yeah,
everything we're talking about with Paolo. I at first I was thinking like they used to say this about Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then they learned how to play together. But I'm like, you know what? Paolo is not that type of player. Like
Paolo ain't Tatum, yeah.
yeah, he's a tier below, man, in terms
Yeah.
of like the versatility. So yeah, and it's
Yeah,
only his
let me
third
put it
game
this way.
back.
I think that Franz Wagner is much closer to Jaylen Brown than Paolo is to Jason Tatum.
Yes, yes. So I mean, yeah, it's a quizzical line. I thought we were moving in the other direction in terms of Heat being like 3.5 favorites. But no, people are standing steadfast here, probably because Jalen Suggs just has so much
He's
magic
awesome.
and mojo. No pun intended there. Second game of the night here. First half under. And why the first half, you say? Well, I mean, it's baked into the it's a much bigger number than the game total, which is 225. And I think we can stay under because the Knicks generally slow starts on the road. I mean, generally score a lot less on the road, but you look, they are the slowest team in the NBA in the first half in their last 10 games. And they're shooting just 33% from three on the road in the first half on the season. 6 times out of 9, they have failed to score 60. And I mean, Toronto's offense, are we worried about Toronto's offense against this Knicks defense? Not particularly. It's been pretty broken since they lost RJ Barrett. In their last 8 first halves, they're also shooting 33% from three. They have a 106 offensive rating. They've gone under 60 in 10 of their last 12 first halves overall. So before losing RJ Barrett. And some of the matchups, yeah, a little iffy here in terms of BI go up against OG, or I mean, Scottie Barnes gets the OG treatment. You got Mitch Rob shutting down the paint. We'll see if he gets ramped up a little bit more. Nick's been saving his minutes for moments like this, right? And even with Mitch Rob in and out of there, they're number 2 limiting paint points in their last 8. The Raptors depend on getting into the paint so that they can both score in there and get in there and kick it out. So I could see the Knicks starting slow here, like would consider one of those halftime full time things. You get 5-1 that they're actually trailing at halftime and win this game. Or you could take Raptors to cover 2.5 at the half, and then the Knicks to win. Still get like 3-1 on your money, but I think the safest bet here is to just say, like, we're not really going to have a shootout here. This is the biggest game in Toronto since the 2022 playoffs. So I mean, they're going to be fired up to at least come out there and play some defense, and I don't think they're going to light it up on this Knicks defense.
I think the Raptors are going to win. I'm like
Okay.
really, really nervous about that, and I think that part of the way that they win is the defense. Now, like they're good enough at limiting on ball stuff and limiting Jalen, but like I think there isn't a world where they just go like, Jalen, go ahead and get 30, 32. Ain't nobody else going to do anything against us, as we're just going to like fly around and limit shots and get anything in the corner. If Josh Hart beats us in the corner too, I suppose that's fine, but really nobody else is really allowed to like get open shots. And I'm not saying Josh Hart's going to be keyed in on. I'm just saying like they'll be fine with him getting his open shots. Jalen, I don't know that they're going to double him too much. I think they stay off and just let it go. And they've been proven to do really, really good. I think Darko's looking at that coach of the year and like licking his chops. So I'm nervous about that, but it does lead to more of an under 2 because the Knicks, especially if Cat is out there, it's going to be a little bit more them trying to rely on offense to win. And I don't know if it's going to be as easy for them with the Raptors at home, like you said, all over the place. Going back to that Heat game for a minute, I think Bam's going to be good in this one. I think the 9.5 boards is good as well. We've seen him do this now a bunch of games in a row. He's got 12 and 15 boards against them this season. He's guarding Wendell Carter Jr. the whole time. He's really not worried about Wendell Carter Jr. scoring. He's really not worried about making sure he sticks to Wendell Carter on the pick and rolls. He's just making sure that he gets down and gets in position to get the rebounds as well. Honestly, like he's really just going under most of the screens because I think they're not scared of Franz on ball. He's not out there. They're not scared of Paolo on ball beyond the 3-point line. They're just going to make sure that guys aren't getting spot up shots as much as they can in the half court. But I think with the pace where it's at, I think like we said, the defense, the under does sort of lead me to like the boards a bit more. And so I do just like the Bam like 9.5 rebounds at like plus 100. If it gets down to like 8.5 minus 140, this double goes up for us. But this dude, when he's playing on court with Norm and Hero, very small sample size, I want to be clear, but 13.3 rebounds per 36 minutes is not nothing when he's playing with those guys. I'd also look at like the assists being an under. He just does not dime up when he's playing with both Hero and Powell as well. And Davion Mitchell gets a ton of those dimes, up at like 10 assists when he's playing on court. So it's really like Bam scoring, Bam rebounding, Wiggins doesn't have much of a place. Mitchell's distributing, and then Norman, Hero get to take as many shots as they want. So I think that's going to be how this plays out for Bam and the boards.
All right. Well, I feel like some positive reinforcement here where I was looking, which is to leave the assists out and to say points and rebounds for Bam. Because the potentials have not been very high lately, and that is what you're saying. But he is scoring a lot more. The usage is way up this year. He's double the amount of 3-point attempts per game, basically, and that's a way to beat this Orlando defense for sure. He's been up against this Orlando team, 21.7 and 12.3 in the last 3 matchups. And most importantly, 39 and a half minutes per game, right? I mean, 40 minutes last Friday. And then, yes, it's part of my theory is like, I agree with you on Miami that they were in look ahead mode on Saturday. That's why they dropped one to the Kings. It was the second leg of a back-to-back. And if they were looking ahead, Bam was the most look aheadish. He was minus 17 in 25 minutes against a Kings team that doesn't have a legit center. They have a rookie in there. They have no there's no reason for him to not eat in that matchup. The entire Heat team just laid an egg because I think they're looking ahead to this one and how much he's going to be needed. The Magic have given up a ton of boards and a ton of blocks to centers. I didn't see a number up yet on the stocks, but would kind of be interested in stocks for Bam in addition to the points and rebounds. I mean, I think he's going to be all over the place defensively, probably going to contribute to Paolo turnovers, if that's a line that we get later too. And just being that last line of defense, just being so needed in this matchup, especially when they're going to play through Paolo more.
No notes on that one, but I'm going to get in here with some OG Anunoby love, and I was talking about him a little bit a minute ago, but I think he is going to have a nice game. Obviously, the revenge narrative is always there. I think playing in Toronto is something he will enjoy doing. I think he'll get hyped for it. I think he's going to have a good game. I think the boards are ridiculously low. And even if Karl Anthony Towns is out there, they're still ridiculously low. Like he's 5 a night on the rebounds. This is a team in the Raptors that if it has a weak point, it's on defense. It is rebounding. It's not bad at rebounding by any means. It's middle of the pack, but it's just really good at like limiting assists and other stuff. So the rebounds are the thing that it's not their strongest point. If he plays without Cat tomorrow, this should be altered to like 7. Because he is averaging 7 per 35, 36 minutes without Cat on the court. In the games he's played without Cat, he's at 7 boards, 21 points, took the 16 shots in that game as well. You could make it the PR. We could do this as like a 15 and 5 kind of thing for him. I think that's going to be good. I think 20 and 5 is a nice little parlay as well. That gets you like close to 4-1, 4.5-1 for that little SGP with OG. But yeah, it's really just about like when he's out there in this one, I do imagine that he's on either Scottie or BI. If he's on BI, it's great to just be on a guy who's standing around the mid-range. He plays on the wing. He's going to be a little bit lower than super high above the break. That's going to be helpful. We know BI likes to get down on the baseline as well and do some ISO down there. So I think OG is going to be in a good spot with whichever guy he's guarding, because we also know Scottie's going to be crashing the offensive boards if he's not the one shooting very consistently. So I think OG is going to be in position a good amount to rebound, and I also think the points are probably going to be pretty good for him as well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But every time I see like a minus 140, minus 150, for some reason, my instinct is just like, no, I can't bet that. I can't. But you get winners, or like you can go 1.4 units and then it's just a winner. Like this is just so low for a guy who's so essential to what the Knicks are going to do. And I think he's going to be important guarding Scottie Barnes, who if he goes under, then the Raptors are not winning this game. So I think that's why it's a good correlation play here. Basically, if he's not cooking, it is more of a half court game. It's the Knicks style here down the stretch that you're going to have to execute as if it's a playoff game, right? The Knicks have just been so good limiting point guards in the last 15, number 2 in terms of fantasy points per game, the whole bundle here, points and assists. And it's a question of whether they think Scottie is more of the head of the snake than Emmanuel Quickley, who did get a little revenge there last week in the preview of this while the Raptors got smacked. He had 19 potential assists, did IQ, and Scottie just 7 potential assists. So that to me indicates what Mike Brown is saying is like, look, we can let IQ like roam around a little bit. Scottie Barnes is our priority. Scottie had to get his points from 3, 4 for 7 from deep, and I'm not really relying on that. If I'm backing Scottie Barnes, you're relying on him crashing the paint, which is something that Mike Brown also prioritizes. And the Knicks last 8 have the fewest non-restricted area attempts allowed in the league. 5th best RA defense. In fact, it's number 1 RA defense in the last 3 since they've gotten OG back, right? And since we've seen more Mitch Rob. So, I mean, I just don't think he's going to get that much going towards the rim. They haven't let him. The Knicks have limited assists overall. And third point is, I don't trust his perimeter shot. So I think Scottie's not going to be scoring that much.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I think the points, especially, and he will have a super tough matchup, as we said here. So this would be the guy that I'd be looking at to fade. But that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure that you are subscribed to that channel. We're coming back to you with more NBA Cup action here for Wednesday tomorrow. So until we see you next, happy betting.